Long time no see, everybody. My name is Monitor Comics. My real name is Michael Beaumont. Published with Saturday Afternoon with my series Change the World. On YouTube, I make comic making tutorials. Just hit 40,000 subscribers today, so thank you all for the support. I'll be moderating this panel. Gotta collect them all today. This panel, we're going to be talking about toys and collectibles in the industry with two very special guests. And I feel like I won't be able to do a good job introducing them, so I'll have them introduce themselves to all of you. That was the cue.
Okay, I'm Janet. I am co-creator of Blown Ups from Jabberwocky Toys, and I actually have made some Saturday AM toys that I'm very proud of, and I can't wait for all of this to move forward and grow sales.
Yes. I love the toys.
Oh, toys are awesome, aren't they? I love them too. You can see them a little bit behind me, a little bit there.
Ooh.
There.
I see them. I see the Bully Eater right there. Nice.
Bully Eater's my fave.
Raymond would love to hear that. Oh, we lost John.
Uh-oh, John. There he is. He's coming.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's got to make the dramatic entrance.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
As you can tell, everybody, technical difficulties do prove that we are live right now. I hope you're enjoying the con today, Janet.
Well, I'm actually really, happy that you guys, this is your first con, and I'm just thrilled that this is going on, and you guys are moving along at lightning speed, and I'm just so proud.
We really appreciate you being here, and love the work that you did with the blown up figures, which we'll talk about. We won't get into that now. Just gotta kill some time until our legendary guest
are we live now?
Yes.
Live and screwing up.
Yeah, going a little off script. But I guess we can, while we're here, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into this business of toys and like your story of Jabberwocky toys and blown up figures?
Okay, well, I actually come from the video game industry, which is where Frederick and I actually met many, many moons ago. Jabberwocky Toys was just one of those things where you wake up in the morning and just you call your partner and you say, hey, what about this? And then it evolves a little bit until it's almost perfection. And now we're rolling out. Hi, John.
Hello. Apologies.
All good. All good.
My son on the PlayStation or what? But my bandwidth seems to be a bit strained or something. But anyway, hello.
It sounds good to me now. Sounds good.
You sound perfect.
Please introduce yourself. Take it away.
Are we on?
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, John Seppenak from Cryptozoic. Pleasure to meet you all. A recent friend of the family of Saturday AM, and happy to be here. So we're 10 years into Cryptozoic, and often still feels like a startup, but here we are.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Very excited to talk to you today, both of you. I don't know if you caught the back end of the first question that I was asking, but pretty much how do you end up here in the toy collectible industry? Was there like a special toy when you were younger that got you interested in doing this? Or like what's the origin story behind Cryptozoic and Jabberwocky toys?
So the backstory is I was at Thunderbird, the international MBA program, focused on Asia. I speak Mandarin and Japanese and Portuguese, as my wife is Brazilian. Wanted me to
very impressive
run Asia for them. More of a party trick than anything else, but. Anyway, at that time, Upper Deck was flying high with Michael Jordan in Asia and with Nomo playing for the Dodgers and Bondi owning 50% of Upper Deck. my Beanie skills and Mandarin skills sort of came in handy for a variety of reasons. That was sort of my introduction to collectibles industry. Growing up, I collected Star Wars cards from the earliest phases, and that was about it. Comic book wise, I read Tintin and Richie Rich and a little bit of Thor.
So you're a millionaire now.
But I wouldn't say I was a huge collector of comic. What's that? Yeah, right.
So now you're a millionaire.
and then as sports card collecting for kids sort of morphed into Pokemon and other TCGs, and then eventually I ended up getting Yu-Gi-Oh for Upper Deck.
Yes.
And riding that wave for many years. I was well steeped into a world that I had been previously unfamiliar with, and 20 years into the TCG business, I'm still figuring it out. It's base for sure. And then Upper Deck had stitches with Yu-Gi-Oh. We'll leave it at that. It's all available to read on the internet. But suffice it to say, lost their agreement with Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh, which gave birth to Cryptozoic, in that Cryptozoic or Upper Deck also lost their license to the World of Warcraft trading card game. And my friend Corey Jones, who I'd hired at Upper Deck many years previously, who then moved over to Blizzard, crafted a plan to spin out of Blizzard and fund us to keep the World of Warcraft trading card game going. So Blizzard loaned us money, and we hired all the previous staff at Upper Deck, and we were off to the races. And after the first year of exclusivity to that brand, they allowed us to do other things. And the first other things we did, the firm was Walking Dead for both trading cards and board games. Eventually, and then shortly thereafter with Warner Brothers, we did a bunch of properties with Warner, like Big Bang Theory, Fringe, a multitude of Warner properties, and have expanded into collectible figurines with Warner and other licenses, and that kind of brings us to where we are today.
I was a very competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player back in the day. I went to the tournaments and like regionals and all that. I don't know how many of my support. I'm sorry to tell you that. The amount of money that goes into that TCG.
Families across America.
Sincerely apologize myself for taking part in it, but one of the best times of my life. So when you were mentioning like Upper Deck and Konami and like the Pokemon and TCGs, I was having flashbacks the entire time. But Janet, you can continue about your origin story.
Saturday afternoon.
Definitely.
Nice.
You know what? It's just a creative process, and you meet people along the way, and you come up with an idea, and you go with it, and you hope for the best. That's all I can say.
So I guess the first real interview question would be, how does someone get where you are? Someone tomorrow comes and tells you, I want to get into this toy business, or I have an idea for a toy. What would you tell this person?
You want to go first, John, or? My harsh
advice you go first.
Would be go work at a toy company and start in the warehouse and learn the business. Seriously.
That's a fair answer.
It's the best way. I mean, I'm sure, John, you've worked in warehouses in the beginning of time as well. We've all put in our time, and here we are.
Absolutely. I've done every job imaginable, including working in a warehouse in Osaka, Japan, where I was screwing together like caster wheels onto refrigerated cart. I was actually a sushi chef in Osaka back in the day, and that's
a man of many talents.
That is so cool.
Hired me.
That is very cool.
That's another story altogether, but definitely another good party trick. Let me put it that way. But in terms of aspiring toy company or toy business folks who would like to work in the business, it really depends on the angle you're coming from. If you want to be a rank and file employee, certainly, any entry point, no matter intern, warehouse, you name it, certainly. There's no spot that's too low on the totem pole to get your feet wet, and that's true really of any industry. But if you're a true, just you're creative and you've been coming up, if you're, bringing in concepts and that sort of thing, you never know. Like finding your way in to get an audience is certainly a challenge. It's really all about networking and finding the people that work in the toy business, and maybe go into mixers or whatever it is. So you at least figure out who is the inventor relations person at any given company that you can find an audience with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but networking honestly is the best. But you always end up in situations that lead you to your next step, which I've always found anyway.
So do you I'm trying to think of how to word this question. Are there any skill sets or qualifications you look for people maybe joining the industry, or in yourself? Do you think there's experience needed to get into the industry, or is higher education necessary to get into the industry? What's your thought process behind that?
Well, I definitely think everything is from creativity, your own talents. Education, I did the whole bachelor thing, and it gave me some basics in business that have helped me immensely. But really what I am today is just because of my own experience and walking my own path.
Yeah, I would say really nowadays what I'm really looking for is passion for the industry in this space. And you don't have to like the same things that I like, but being passionate about something, really IP wise, I've found is a important bellwether for seeing that passion trend. Because if you're not passionate about something, you're not gonna do your best. So passion and flexibility and willingness to learn and wear a bunch of different hats and just do what it takes to grow. And I think we've been very successful in finding aspiring, talented, motivated people who've come in. We had who came to us while working at a comic book shop, and she was helping out doing some paint overs for some art we were doing, and she slowly grew, and then actually quite quickly grew to be our brand manager for our collectibles business, and even had a stint working on the trading card business as well. And as has happened all too often, she just got nabbed by Marvel to work on licensing for their brand. So, and I just couldn't be happier for her, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, and power to her, and it's good to have connections at Marvel. And I wish her nothing but the best. So, cultivating talent only to lose them is kind of our MO, it seems. But that's okay.
It's true. I just lost a product manager, Spin Master.
Improving ground. Yeah. What's that?
I just lost a product manager to Spin Master. So. Yeah,
those bastards. I love the guys at Spin. There's no one I'd rather lose somebody to. I've got so many friends over there, including 2 of the 3 founders, really all 3 founders to a degree.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Yeah, I'm really I couldn't be happier for this guy, and
So in your experience, what's been the hardest part?
Hey, same show, different booth.
Yeah. What's that, Michael?
In your experience, what's been the hardest part about being in this industry?
I think all the hard parts happen.
These panel discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
I'm here all week.
The hardest part is, I think one of the hard parts is to keep your passion going when you're facing a lot of challenges and sometimes things just do not work out the way they're supposed to. And, you really have to keep your passion and enthusiasm and creativity up. It can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge in any space, any part of the entertainment industry, is that you can never rest on your laurels. Like, things are going to work or they're not, and usually you're hit like baseball, it's definitely under 500, or 400 or 300, wherever the case may be. You've got to keep plugging away and finding those hits, and the hits pay for the dogs, and you just keep slow. And you just have to keep reinventing yourself. And yeah, I mean, hard work is a bit, but so is luck.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'd love
luck
to take
is
credit
actually
for the success of
luck
it,
is actually luck is
it,
actually when preparedness meets opportunity. So
Yes. I'd retweet
absolutely,
that.
for sure.
Yeah.
But you have some dry spells, and we've been very fortunate that we've been 10, 11, coming up on, I think 12. It'll be 12 years in March for us. And we've probably, I would say, almost like clockwork, every other year we've been staring into the abyss. Right around the holiday season, or the end of holiday season, like what's next, and it comes from the most unexpected places. Honestly, you just never know what's going to pop.
Yeah. It's interesting that you asked that about what's next, because my next question was actually, when you're planning or developing a new product, what does that process look like for both of you?
Well, it usually starts with somebody having an idea, and we get into a meeting and, do preliminary sketches and ideas, and, we toss it around for a little while until we make it presentable and move forward.
And what does moving forward look like?
That's when,
I'm sure there's people in our audience that are like, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Go ahead, John. What? Oh,
so I mean, it could come from a variety of sources and origins. One story I like to tell is how we came to create the Pantone board game that we released maybe 4 years ago now. Let's call it 6 years ago or so. My partner John Nee, who's the former publisher of Marvel Comics and head of biz dev for DC Comics, like he knows this business. Just one day, randomly, as he often does in a meeting, he said, we should make a Pantone board game, with no explanation as to what this board game would be or anything about it. Just, we should make a Pantone board game. And he would say that every so often over the months or years. And then one day at Gen Con, the yearly tabletop game show in Indianapolis, we had a guy come to our booth and pitch us this game called Who's Hugh? And it was a color-based game where you're matching color to try to create an image of a character that you're, with various hints, you try to guess what the character is. And the person to whom he pitched it said, I think we just found our Pantone game. And shortly thereafter, I was at a charity golf tournament up in Calabasas, and I happened to be standing in line with the guy who reps Pantone. And within a week, we were in conversation, had the license, and X number of months later, we were off to the races. That's a not entirely unique example of an outside pitch combined with an inside idea. When we got Walking Dead, our first outside license after World of Warcraft, it was really my partners who are all read the Walking Dead comic. I'd never even heard, and this is before the first episode had even aired.
It's a good comic.
They were hell bent on doing it. I'm like, I don't know, guys. The guarantee is it's like $40,000. I'm not sure we can handle this. And now we blew it out of the water in the first month. But yeah, you just never know. Thank God for my partners.
Yeah, they have ideas come from the most crazy places, and they just evolve.
And John, you mentioned about this.
In terms of the go forward green light, it's a lot of gut check, kind of get a consensus around the table, and boom, we go.
And you mentioned this pitch. I know in the comics and the manga space where I work with, the pitch is very important for getting your foot in the door and like give people an idea of what your book or your series is going to be about. So from the toy industry, can you give some advice for how like this pitching session works and how to prepare a good pitch like you did with the representative you were talking about?
You can go, John.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I can't. I've seen them all, and I've seen horrible pitches graphically that came across fashion. I've seen other beautiful decks put in front of me that I didn't want to look at twice. So I can't say there's a real formula other than I keep going back to passion. Somebody who's truly passionate and believing in what they do. That doesn't always translate into success or reception, but to me, it is one of the key ingredients to anything that we're looking at, for sure.
And it's really about timing. It really is. You know, you could have the best idea and you think it's the perfect time, but it's just not the perfect time for the company you're pitching to. So you just got to keep at it.
So I assume that both of you have been doing this for a while. So what is the best part about developing toys and collectibles now versus, say, 20 years ago? Like, I'm sure technology and the industry's changed over time. So if you could just share about that.
Well, certainly a lot quicker to, to get to customers with social media and all that stuff. So I think that, the resources that we use to make the products have improved a lot. But I think that's just a lot of us just working as a partner with the factories to make sure that everything is done the way it needs to be done. And I don't know. I can't really say that anything's easier because it's not really easier because we know people, I guess, and we have lines of travel that we can go to immediately without having to search. But yeah, I don't think it's easier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into pandemic specific related things, but even let's put that to the side. Between 20 years ago and now, and it's funny that just the fact that we're on a Saturday AM titled broadcast here, where I would imagine anyone under the age of, I don't know, 15, 12, like they don't even know what that means. Saturday AM is no longer a thing. It doesn't. And whereas back 20 years ago, that was
our hearts.
If you weren't on Saturday morning cartoons, you didn't exist.
You didn't
and
get the
retailers didn't want to talk to you. So So that the elimination of that 3 network linear broadcast to where we've got this ridiculously segmented and wide but thin audiences. It's different. It's challenging, but so is Saturday morning cartoons. So there's no easy solution, but you have to be nimble and understand where the market dynamics are going. And you've got to be a lot more in your marketing and pinpointing your audience. So, one door closes, opportunities, and you just have to follow that trend. And it's only going to get more specific. And your ability to pinpoint your audience is going to become easier, if not more expensive. But you're going to find them.
Mm-hmm. I did want to give you both a moment to talk about the products that your companies work on. I know Jabberwocky did have a collaboration with Saturday M recently. So if you want to talk about either of those, that'd be great.
Saturday M was actually our first licensing that we went into. Frederick, like I said, Frederick and I have known each other for a really long time. I loved what he was doing, and I way back when he started, I saw his vision and I felt his vision, and I wanted to be part of it. And anime, manga, collectible toys are the thing right now. So it makes sense for there to be a collectible toy for any property.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just I'm just here for the ride.
Off the script, but I hope we do more work together in the future.
Oh, we will.
I'm looking around like I don't know if I was allowed to say that. And John, if you could tell us about some of the products that you would like to highlight from Cryptozoic, either coming out this year or ones that just stick out in your mind.
So sure. Well, I would say the one that is relevant is our CZX branded DC Comics Universe Crisis on Infinite Earths trading card product. This is a product been 2+ years in the making, due largely to challenges with approvals, and just the trading card category as a whole is the bane of most licensors and studios' existence. It is so labor intensive for them. You know, you do a T-shirt, it's 1 image. You do a calendar, it's 12 images. You do a trading card product, we're talking about hundreds of unique images that have to be approved. Not only the photo, but the frame in which it's set, the text on the back, and the return on investment for licensors, as you know, in comparison to most every other category, is potentially the lowest, depending on the scale of the product. But in terms of fan engagement, of what this product is and does for the consumer, you will set worn props and wardrobe and memorabilia. We have bullet casings, Team Dead, affixed to cards and dropped into packs. And with this Crisis on Infinite Earths product, we've got wardrobe costumes, both when the like Melissa Benoist as Supergirl in costume. We've cut up pieces of that, and then in her civilian clothes, Stephen Amell, Flash and Augustin and Arrow, and yeah. So after 2, we finally got that product landed. It's out to distribution as we speak, and it is launching on 19th, 3 short days from now. And this has literally been a 2+ year, typically like 9 to 12 months is a production cycle for trading cards. Pandemic had something to do with it. Turnover at the studios had a lot to do with it. So I won't bash anymore.
Yeah, we've had our work cut out for us lately for the last 2 years, I'll say.
Yeah, for sure.
To fly product over because of the whole supply issues. It's just like, you guys don't even know what we do in the backgrounds to make sure product gets to you. Really, you don't have no idea.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the background after this. No, I'll let John finish. I didn't mean to interrupt him.
Oh, okay. So that's one product of note. Another exciting. So that the CZX product, high-end trading card product. So typically a pack of our product, the configuration of our products typically comes in a 24-pack sealed box. Packs go for $4 to $5 each. And you're guaranteed a certain number of hits per box. And it's at a certain level, and then another number of hits at the case level. We try to guarantee at least a signature per box, wardrobe card, and or a sketch card. And sketch cards, I think, is to the extent that folks are aware or not of sketch card drivers are. We send blank cards out to the hundreds of artists throughout the world, and they hand paint art on the IP onto the card and then ship them back to us. We get those approved by the licensor and drop them into packs. The remuneration for these sketch cards on paper doesn't look like for what we get, it's amazing. And I will tell you that the sketch card artists are woefully underpaid for what they do compared to the B and C level actors who sign their names and could make multiples of that per card.
Amen.
What it does is it gives them exposure to the world of the publishers, and it's a good proving ground to be noticed and often hired by the studios to actually do real comics. So it's a great proving ground. We also allow a certain number for every 7 or so cards they'll do for us. We'll give them an artist proof card that's marked as such, and they're allowed to sell those on their own on the secondary market. Really make their money at the end of the day. But yeah, I think that especially for this audience, I think that's a place to start. And we're always open to submissions of portfolios or whatnot and looking for new talent.
as an ex Yu-Gi-Oh player, I relapse sometimes, but as an ex Yu-Gi-Oh player, and as a fan of Crisis on Infinite Earths, that is very exciting to hear about. So I'll definitely be looking into that. I do have to say though, as an ex Yu-Gi-Oh player, I hope the rare cards aren't impossible to get.
Sure. That's always the part.
Yeah.
I'm
speaking for everybody.
Part of the game is that balance between like ability to, there's set completions versus the guys who are just going after that high end one of one, which set completion is hate, but as a manufacturer, having that marquee card that goes on the secondary market and for insane prices helps bring more eyeballs to your product. So we're always trying to strike that balance between the two of being fair and equitable and greedy at the same time.
I just had to try. So I'm sure that there are plenty of questions from the fans now, either on YouTube or on Shindig. So we'll now start taking the fan questions. So I think this question right here says, how do you decide to work with companies in regards to making toys?
Well, I check their bank account, make sure how much money they have first. I'm kidding. So, sometimes it's just like a chance meeting and it's like, this is the perfect marriage. Sometimes it's something that we choose and we go after, and it could take, like John said, 2 to 3 years for it to come to fruition. But it's always a thought of, will this make the consumers happy? That's really what my main goal is like, what are the consumers going to like? What are they going to be happy about? What are they excited about? And try to fit in there. I'm trying not to take up too much time.
As an extension of that, to, like, Cryptozoic from day one, our corporate has been fans first. And that really, it's a double entendre in that we have to, we're servicing the fans first, making sure that we're providing them with whatever outlet to express their fandom is. Yeah. But more importantly, we have to be fans we're doing, because if we're not, it's going to show in the product. It doesn't mean everybody in the company has to be a fan, but somebody who's driving it, who's passionate about it, and shares that vision with people and gets there. And how that translates to working with outside partners, it's often a issue. But at this point, at least in my career, I have the luxury of being able to work with people I want to work with, and that's half the fun, is working with people you want to work with, and sort of souls allowed is both either inside the company or out. Something you aspire to, not always there,
Yeah, I second that. No, it's true. I mean, we all work really hard at making the right connections so that we can do exciting and cool things that are going to be relevant to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The fans really are the most important thing.
I saw the last question briefly. Demetrian, can you bring that back up? It says, how do you feel about the concept of collectibles when it comes to the business side of things?
Well, I love it. I mean, I think it's just so much fun. I like that, especially with collectibles. I like that we work with limited runs and then move on to the next design. I like that, you can see them all over the internet. You see people playing with them and showing videos of them. It's the coolest feeling in the whole wide world.
Mm-hmm. I guess a follow-up question is, do you collect anything yourselves? Because I still got all my Star Wars figures somewhere packed in here somewhere.
I have a few collections of different things.
Go ahead.
No, I don't really have a particular.
I wanted to address the business side of that question, because it really is it's kind of when you talk about the business side of the collectibles business, because as a collectibles manufacturer, you should only be manufacturing to less than demand, right? which is completely the antithesis of profit reports that publicly traded companies are under, the pressure that they're under. Working at Upper Deck, which was solely owned by one owner who was insane, and we'll just call him insane and greedy. It actually worked to have the pressure of, and this is not a reflection on anyone currently at Upper Deck. We love those people. But yeah, the previous regime was it was odd. But being a solely owned company, the ability to thumb his nose, he didn't have to answer to the street, and he could adjust quantities and volumes and sales accordingly, and didn't do things that were detrimental to the business, as by some quarterly report that often publicly traded companies have to do.
Cool. Now tell us what toys you have, John. Do you still have your baseball card somewhere?
I'll tell you, like I'm looking over at my closet right now. I don't, because I've been in the problem with doing business with things passionate about,
pleasure and business separate,
kills the passion, because you've seen sausage is made. Like, I was a huge sports fan coming into Upper Deck, and when I landed there, I was in heaven. Like, I got to go to the only NFL games I've ever been, Super Bowls. I've got to go to the NBA All-Star game and meet Michael Jordan and all my other sports heroes, and it was ridiculous. But now, like, I can't on a professional sports game. I can't watch basketball. I can't watch football. Like, it kind of killed it for college football. But yeah, it's odd how mixed, at least for my experience, has been mixed do can often make the passion just skewed. And you know, the analogy I come up with is seeing how the sausage is made. I still appreciate it and stand it, but I'm no longer glued to my television watching any sports event. You know, IP goes, like I said, Star Wars was my thing as a kid. I collected the early trading cards. But over the years in business, I've made my collections of what has fallen into my lap through the course of business. And all legitimate, I assure you.
Yes, I'm sure we all have closets and closets full of stuff that we've done over the years, because you just
can't throw it out, you know, you just can't get rid of it.
And it's just like it's your baby, so it sits, moves everywhere with you. And
all right, Dimitri, next question.
Speaking of baby, I watched the Beanie Babies documentary on HBO Max last night. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's fascinating. It focuses on this group who kind of started the craze, and very, very interesting. And it's just a good, like, this industry or any industry. I think it's a great great lesson movie has.
We'll have to check it out.
Passion. Yes.
Yeah. Cryptozoic approved. Dimitri, bring up the question. It says, between marketing, manufacturing, and storage, what's the hardest?
Say John Sepper.
John approved. Correction.
Oh, Jesus. Pick on any given day, any one of those can be the most challenging.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, believe it or not, storage, major issue for us. For quite some time, we're still dealing with that. Getting stuff from point A to B, and God, I mean, I look out here over the Long Beach. I see the ships backed up. I live in Huntington Beach, which is about 15 miles from Long Beach. A string of container ships going for 15 miles, waiting to get in there, and I've stopped using that port, at least when I can. And I had a product that was sitting out in the water for probably 6 weeks before it finally got unloaded, and then took another 4 weeks on a train to go to the East Coast. And nobody knew where it was or when it was. We were just at the mercy of some crane operator and some logistics company and getting that thing through. It's been a nightmare. And what used to be $3,000 for a 40-foot container from China to the U.S. now costs me $23. It's insane.
It is absolutely
literally
insane. Yeah, it is.
In fact, I'm writing stuff over now. I'm putting on an airplane because I can't wait.
Yeah, I've done a lot of air in stuff.
I think 23,000 is expensive.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, you think 23,000 air is much more, and they also put it up at Christmas time too. So they're on to us.
Of course, yes. It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
Of course it is.
I blame Amazon.
I do too.
Yeah,
it's all Amazon's
but
fault.
I still ordered way too much stuff off of them.
Me too.
Yes, Jeff Bezos.
The necessary evil now.
This next question says, how has the toy industry changed, in your opinion, with the introduction and evolution of the internet?
Well, it's definitely easier to get people to see your products. You know, if you team up with an influencer or a company that is, you know, well followed, you can go overnight to #1. So the exposure, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about, like establishing a relationship with your audience and holding that audience is key. And it takes time, and it's there's no way to do it, but you have to understand that, getting and creating, fostering this fandom is all part of the game. And if you have people that believe your product line and you as a company, and they're not every product has to be for every fan. Clearly, there's segmentation. Establishing that conversation and that dialogue is so key to demand and understanding what your consumers want.
Because we care. We really care.
Yep.
Like, I do. I really care what people think. I really care that people
absolutely.
are excited and passionate, it's the best feeling in the whole wide world to see somebody post about you. Sorry.
Yeah, and then to see it live finally, as we sort of slowly crawling back into convention. I probably overdid it when the cuffs came off and things started going live again. We're doing we did the San Diego Comic-Con Light or whatever they were calling it. And it was a San Diego Comic-Con. It just happened to take place in San Diego over Thanksgiving weekend. There you wouldn't even have known it was going on compared to normal San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
but it was great just to see people again and have them come up and be asking about things. And then the following weekend was LA Comic-Con and with Emerald City up in Seattle. So getting back into that in-person event and talking, it's slow, but it's nice to see. And then now we're crawling back into our that's his life.
Retreat.
I think this question was already answered. How do you feel about the concept of collectibles when it comes to the business side of things?
One thing I can add to that is with the business side of things, I feel like there's more collaborations going on. There's so much licensing going on, and it's really easy to find people to partner with to actually enhance what you're bringing to people. So that's the business side a little bit. That's extra.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a good time to, right. I don't know if it was all there, NFTs. It's a dirty word to some, but it's all of everything for others. And I'm in a lot of these conversations throughout the week, all the time. This frothy, speculative bubble market, it's not going to last forever, but they're definitely here to stay, and it's going to be an increasingly important part of everyone's business, not just the toy business, everyone's business. And you're going to see innovation and shake out, and there's not going to be a million different currencies and a million different platforms. It'll all sort of congeal, just like, there'll be an eBay of NFTs, and maybe eBay themselves. I know they've got a strategy, and then an Amazon. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. We're trying to remain nimble.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because there's games
capitalize
now.
on the opportunity.
I mean, there's video games now out that you can buy NFT.
Yeah, we've actually partnered with. We partnered with Mythical Games, which is a platform for NFT based or blockchain based for our IPs. Epic Spell Wars, which is an original tabletop game, and it's an interesting. It's about a 9-month to year development cycle, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see where it goes. They're talking about everything from receipts to everything being NFT. So I'm really excited to see where to go.
Mm-hmm. This question from Gemjab says, any way to get into contact with people who make TCGs?
No, there's no way. There's nobody here that can talk about that.
No.
Next question.
No, not at all. Please. Go ahead if you want to speak first, Janet.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you know what? Pay attention to your toy association. Educate yourself on the industry. There's so many places that you can get a leg in, but you need to be knowledgeable about everything. Like you can't just show up. You have to sort of have some kind of a strategy. And I think paying attention to the toy association, to the companies, to the industry, and it's so easy to do with the internet nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of companies out there that they all have hotmail addresses you can submit your resume to, or whatever it is that you're looking to do within that business. It counts. Like, eventually, if you pester someone long enough in a kind of non-annoying manner, to the extent that those two things are compatible, someone's going to pick up the phone or write back, at least tell you yes or no or something.
Yep.
Trust me.
Yes. It may not be a nice no either.
Well, we try. But...
Yeah, that's all you can do is just keep trying,
Keep trying.
Persistence is everything.
It is. I saw this next question briefly. It says, what does an average day of work look like for both of you?
Too many emails, too many phone calls, too many things that go wrong at the last minute that you have to sort of jump in and fix. And it's hectic. It's crazy and it's hectic, but it's so much fun.
Are you having fun, John?
Yeah, I start out each day with the best of intentions.
Yes.
I'm going to get that and the other accomplished, and it's 3 p.m. and I haven't looked at a single thing that I intended on doing because I'm fighting fires or you name it. The remote thing has been interesting. I was always a believer in people's self-motivated, and while it's nice to be in an office together, particularly in a creative environment, because I think people feed off each other. We're trying to bring people back as much as possible, but I find oftentimes I get a lot more done remotely because I don't have a stream of people knocking on my door with issues that they just figure out on their own and not need me to negotiate or whatever the issue might be. Sometimes you can be too accessible. Yeah.
I think we're down to our final 2 questions. This one says, are there certain companies you dream of partnering with to produce collectibles?
Of course. Every company that brings fun, I want to partner with.
He has an answer ready.
No, I don't
know if I do or not. Like,
he's about to shoot a shot right now live.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. Yeah, it's not so much about accessibility in that, we're being in Southern California especially, and then having access to all the studios and just knowing so many people, like everything's sort of there at our fingertips. It's largely a product of bandwidth and headcount wise, financially, and then where are making smart decisions. I think there was a time where it was a scattershot approach, and I think the products reflected that. And trying to be more on what really has the best opportunities for working, as opposed to just throwing whatever against the wall and seeing what sticks.
True.
Trying to be a little more than maybe we've been in the past.
Yeah, I find everything evolves in that situation. Like things will just mirror up, and you go off with that idea, and next thing you have a hit. So.
And I think we are approaching our final question, if I'm not mistaken. This question says, is 3D printing, specifically resin printing, a revenue you may venture in? Or is it resin?
I think most people that are doing toys have 3D printers in their office to try out some things before you actually go to the factory.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unprecedented. Before we started Cryptozoic, my partner John Nee and I had a company called Print Warcraft, and we used imagery from the Armory from Blizzard to create. We were doing like mouse pads, posters, T-shirts, that sort of thing, where you could take your game and pose it however you wanted and print on demand, 2D types of things. But there was another partner out there, that licensee, that was doing 3D, print on demand, 3D printing. It was resin. I can't remember what the substrate was, but really high end sculpts of your character game. And this was in the early, 10 plus years ago, and the technology has evolved tremendously. Not quite at that point for mass production yet, but I think, that the 3D printing really lends itself to these unique one-of-ones, more high-end type statues. And I'm a big believer in that technology, and I look forward to seeing how it progresses. From actually making money off of what you're spitting out from 3D. Prototype wise, it's the norm. Actually revenue generating, it's few and far between, but we're going to get there. I mean, eventually we might all just be selling 3D people, and they're just hitting print at home, and there you go.
That's actually totally plausible. Yeah.
Better for the environment. Yeah, I don't know.
For sure. I think that's
less land than plastic.
Yeah, true. He's got a point. So I think that's all the questions today. I just want to thank you both for taking the time to come out today and talk with me a little bit. I remember earlier on, I asked, I forgot what the question was. What's the hardest part about being in the business? And John said panels like these. So hopefully it wasn't too much torture for him. Hopefully if it was a 9 out of 10, if I can get it to like an 8 out of 10 at least.
It was good.
I appreciate that. So I guess just to wrap things up, please tell everybody where they can support you and check out all your products and all of that, whatever you want to say.
Okay, well, we're at www.jabberwockytoys.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere you're supposed to be. And probably some few big announcements coming soon.
Yeah, cryptozoic.com, again, across all the major social media platforms. Also check out DC Dual Force. That's our upcoming interactive digital trading card game that we're produced on the DC Comics universe. We made a recent announcement a couple of months ago now. We're probably got 9-10 months left of development, but that we hope and think is going to be huge. If you're a fan of DC, a fan of trading card games, it's a no-brainer. If you're just a fan of DC, never tried trading card games, I think it's a great entry point. We're going to appeal to a wide swath and make it easily accessible, but challenging to master.
Awesome. So thank you to everybody in the chat for asking great questions, for being here. An awesome panel is coming up right after this about animation, so hopefully everyone sticks around for that. I've been Monitor Comics. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Forgot to speak English at the very end. I hope everyone had a great time coming out today and enjoys the rest of the con. Thank you.
Thank you.